Hello and welcome to episode 13 of my IDIFM, which of course is I'm Doing It For Me. Ask the Expert set of interviews where I'm searching the cosmos as a superhero finder, looking for the real life heroes of today. So today I'm joined by Maggy Jackson, and Maggy is someone I've met over the last year just on online meetings, and she's got a really interesting and powerful story. And some of the stuff she's been going through recently, we're going to get into that. And what a wonderful message. The message being, it's okay to not be okay. So get yourself comfortable, get yourself a nice drink, and I will see you on the other side. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Ask the Expert interview. So this is number 13. So I'm joined today by Maggy Jackson. Maggy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you, Matt. How are you?
I'm absolutely fabulous. Now, I'm aware we've just been talking and catching up that you've had a pretty interesting and challenging few days and, a few weeks and stuff. And we're going to go into that. And just around the theme, just to let you know, give everyone a little bit of a taster. And it's about, it's okay to not be okay. Okay,
Yeah,
and it's that experience of learning.
I thought I was invincible. I'm a counsellor, psychotherapist. I've been in practice for 22 years. I've gone through a great deal of trauma in my life and I've always bounced back. And so I went into hospital thinking this is going to be a walk in the park. It hit me like a brick, and it made me realise that actually it's okay to take time out to recover, to recuperate. Mentally, I kind of geared myself up to think, yeah, I'll have a week off and I'll be back at work. And that's what I'd planned. I did all my cases on the Monday, and Tuesday I went down and had surgery, thinking that the following Monday I'd be fine. I was absolutely drained. And it really gutted me because I thought, what's happened? I'm usually so resilient. I teach resilience. I tell people how it's think positive and you're going to be okay. But the message just didn't get through to my stupid brain. My brain said, actually, you need to rest. You need to recover. You need to rehab. You don't have to push yourself. And I guess the experience was completely different to what I'd expected. But it's about actually allowing yourself to go with the flow. There's a great guy called Fritz Perls. I think he's dead now. He used to do Gestalt work, and his motto was "Don't push the river because rivers flow on their own." And I think that's what I've actually learned is actually don't push it. Just let your body heal, and also be able to ask for and accept help. I really had no idea that when they let me out 2 days later, I couldn't even lift my legs to get in the car. So my husband had arranged for somebody to drive down and pick me up, and they had to lift my legs into the car. I've never been that incapacitated before in my life. And then my husband's been a brick. He's actually done everything for me for the first week. He's cooked, he's cleaned, he's helped me in and out of bed. Now I'm self-sufficient again. I've got to pace myself because otherwise the whole experience has been a waste of time. So it's been the learning experience that actually it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take help. You don't have to apologize for asking. Yeah, I did manage my 4 clients the week after my op, but I shouldn't have done. If I'd known what was going to happen, hindsight being wonderful, I would have actually taken that whole week off. I did have the sense to say 4 is enough, and my evening work I rearranged. Evening work was actually supervision, and I don't know if anybody realises, but therapists have supervision of their work. And I just texted my supervisor and said, I'm just too tired for this. And she said, well, so what? Doesn't matter. Let's rearrange. So, nothing's written in tablets of stone. I guess that what I've learned is gratitude that I'm okay, gratitude that what the NHS wouldn't do, actually worked for me. I got a better surgeon. I got probably better treatment. I don't like the idea of privilege, but sometimes you have to actually think of yourself. I'm nearly 70 and I want to live my life. I don't want to be incapacitated waiting for things to happen. And the treatment that I got was beyond excellent.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of things conspiring to make sure that I got it right. Because for those of you who don't know, I've got leukemia. And leukemia is a bit of a no-no when you're having surgery because your bloods are all over the place. And so I had to take preparation. Now, for me to be prepared for anything is you know, I just wait for a bus to come along. But in actual fact, knowing that I had to take care of myself made that I was in the best possible state to go into what was an unknown. You know, I'd had all my COVID tests. I had a COVID test every day while I was in hospital. They did blood tests. Even the consultant came very worried after my operation. He said, "I've got a problem with your blood." And I said, "What's wrong with my blood?" And he said, "Oh, your white blood count's very, very high." And I said, "Well, don't you realise that's part of my condition?" And I'd frightened him.
Right.
But he knew, but he hadn't kind of put the two things together. And he said, "Oh, that's okay then." But it's about preparation and it's about actually knowledge. And if you investigate something and you let yourself in for a procedure, you have to know what you're actually expecting. And I guess my preparation was, I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
But I didn't think forward. I didn't think about what I needed to do, not just to survive, but to thrive. After we've actually done something that was pretty scary. But after that, you've got the recovery period. And I didn't plan for that as much as I should have done. So my learning experiences, I'm very grateful that I survived it. But maybe, God forbid I have to go through it all again, I would prepare for the recovery. I would allow myself to kind of lie in bed a bit longer and not to get up so early, and take help. So in terms of my work, I've learned how people who seem resilient aren't as resilient as they seem. It's like people wear a mask. You know, I know with your work, you know, you're always super strong. You want to be fit. You want to lift the heaviest weights that you can possibly do. I couldn't lift a rolling pin at the moment, but in actual fact, you've got that image, that strong image. I don't know you well enough to know what's going on under the surface. That's the same with a lot of my clients. Clients have to trust me with their innermost thoughts and fears, and it's okay to let the mask slip. And masks are very significant at the moment with the COVID situation.
They are, that was a good analogy to use.
But in actual fact, what's behind the mask? And sometimes it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, actually, things aren't quite right at the moment. Don't know what it is, but things aren't quite right.
I think sometimes there's an expectation that, especially in the field of, you know, psychotherapy or counselling or coaching or whatever it may be, where you're helping other people and teaching resilience and going through things, there's an expectation that actually you should embody that. And that should be you. And actually that's normally not the case. So you said about me there, and you said obviously we don't know each other that well to be able to know, but I've had massive struggles over the last couple of years, and it's taken me delving into who I am and working with several people. But yet what I do for a living is help other people be stronger. So sometimes the teacher, because the knowledge is there and because the application and the ways that you face challenges can really be of help to somebody, but you don't have to be an expert in fixing it, or, you know, the final result, but it's the want to be able to pass on the information to help somebody else while you're still going through that, I think. But yeah, absolutely. In terms of when you just said then about getting more prepared for the rehab and the after bit, I think sometimes, I mean, it's surgery, you know, it's a big thing, and it's, you know, sometimes we concentrate a lot on getting through that, and that's almost like the point, you know, and then afterwards sometimes can get left unthought about, which is obviously what you found with this, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I had the operation at lunchtime, and I'd left home at 4 o'clock in the morning to get down to London. And I should have been absolutely worn out, but I was absolutely buzzing. I could not sleep at night. They were coming in every hour to make sure that I was okay, to took my blood pressure and everything. And the nurse said, you know, why are you still awake? You should be absolutely worn out. I was so elated that I'd actually come through it, that I wouldn't let my body rest. And that's a learning curve for me, that actually, you know, it's okay to trust other people. You don't have to just trust yourself. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I eventually gave up the horrible drugs that they were giving me and thought, I'm going to work through the pain, rather than actually the drugs that they gave me were worse than the pain, because it made me worse. And it's actually saying, well, can I put up with a moderate amount of pain without the medication, or suffer the side effects of the medication? Sometimes the cure is worse than the disease, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that applies to psychological work too. You know, I work with a lot of people who've gone through trauma. One of my specialities is post-traumatic stress, both in the forces and in the health service, where a lot of the staff are suffering from post-traumatic stress at the moment, particularly because of COVID. And they come and say, well, I'm just not functioning right. Well, actually, our bodies aren't designed to work at that stress level for a long time, and you have to give into it, and you have to say, actually, let's take a bit of a break. And it's not in the serving profession's nature to take breaks, but it's actually sometimes to their advantage if somebody else tells them they need a break. And it's okay not to be okay. And they might not even know what's wrong with them. And when you delve into their past, you know, if you wrote it on the wall, it's obvious what was wrong. But because they're living their experiences, they don't actually recognize what's gone wrong. And so they don't know how to fix it. And half the problem is, if you know what's wrong, you can start to fix it. But that's why specialist people like me and other psychotherapists, coaches, whatever, can actually help people, because when you're living a situation, you don't know what's actually there behind it. And yeah, I love your videos, because I see you lifting all these weights and everything, and I'm just thinking, my goodness, he's a strong guy. But actually, you know, there's strength in weakness too. It's okay to say, well, actually, enough's enough, I can't do any more. Particularly with the nursing profession, they've had a hell of a year, 14 months. I think you were talking about the retention rates for the NHS. 1 in 10 people are going to leave. It's because they're not cared for enough. They haven't been given the right support. Part of my work at the moment is working with the Trauma Resource Network, and it's working with people who've had a trauma that is global. So something like the George Floyd murder, which has had a global impact on people. So people that you wouldn't actually connect with, you know, Black Lives Matter, have been affected by seeing that poor guy. And they don't really know what had caused it, but it was actually, it's triggered something in their minds. And so you've had to work with that. There are people who've lost people in dreadful circumstances in COVID. You know, not just the fact that they can't be with somebody when they die, but also that they can't bury them in the way they want. They can't have the services that they really want. They don't have the opportunities to say goodbye. And that's all traumatic. And it's going to have a knock-on effect. So the Trauma Response Network was set up in response to the Manchester bombings a couple of years ago. And there's a group of us who actually work pro bono, we don't get paid for it, with people who've been affected by global trauma. And it's a research project, really, to see how, because we're all working on Zoom now, how effective trauma counselling can be through Zoom. So hopefully a year on, we'll get some results. And I actually think it's a really good way to work. I'm not going back to face-to-face work until some miracle actually allows me to become immune to COVID. because I've had all my injections and I've had my test, and I haven't developed any immunity. So common sense says stick to Zoom for a bit. Until herd immunity kicks in, which it will, but it's about patience. So along with it's okay not to be okay, it's okay to be impatient, but actually God give me patience, but give it me now is my motto at the moment. I want things to happen.
There's a certain irony in that.
Yeah, I really want things to happen, but I know that I've got to be patient because I can't make that step back to face work yet. But a lot of people have found Zoom quite exhilarating because you meet people that you've not talked to before, because the distance is no object on Zoom.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we met in it was in Andrew's group, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the Monday morning calls.
Yeah.
Which for a long time were, you know, a backbone for me to be able to get together with some like-minded people to get through a time where my business had taken a plummet because of COVID and the pandemic, and you know, we're all supporting each other, and we undoubtedly are very unlikely to have come across each other had it not been for Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. There's several of that group that I'm still in touch with, although I don't actually go to the meetings anymore. You know, there's people that are we're the most unlikely bedfellows. There's Ash and and Claire and people like that I wouldn't have been. I'd never have actually. Oh, and Julia is adorable. I would never have had any contact with them had it not been for that Zoom meeting. And the other thing that I'm doing at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic, is I'm writing my experiences of being diagnosed with leukemia, which was 15, 16 years ago, for a group called Blood Cancer Uncensored. And it's a group of people who are getting together to say, these are our experiences. They're not necessarily yours, but it might give you some hope. And the group is run by a psychiatrist who sadly has leukemia, and he can't work. So he set up this group. He's very knowledgeable because he's a doctor as well. And we talk internationally. There's a group that meets every Sunday night, and we work between America, which is a completely different system to ours, and the UK. It's absolutely brilliant. I would never have spoken to half of these people in my life if it hadn't been for Zoom.
Yeah.
So there has been some advantages, but also there is something called Zoom burnout. And if you do too much of it, you can't cope. And you know, you lose that personal contact because you're not with it when you're talking to people. You just lose concentration. And the big Zoom meetings, I don't know how people do them. I can't cope with big ones. You know, 5 or 6 people is okay, but you know.
Yeah, I was going to say 5 or 6 people, because then there's a sense of, whereas in a room you would be able to read people's body language, you would be able to have a flowing conversation. Whereas with the delays with the internet, sometimes you can get too many people talking, and actually, if the person that's chairing the meeting isn't quite as switched on, because you've got to think it can't just be a normal conversation, because you've got to give everyone their chance to speak, because as soon as somebody else speaks louder, it cuts off the other person. So, you know, it's a different way of working, but I agree, it's been fantastic in the way that it's connected people, and it's given the ability to, especially yourself with, you know, if you've not built up any immunity to COVID, it's given you the choice now. You've been thrust into it essentially, but it's given you the choice now to say, actually, how effective is the work that I do on Zoom versus face to face? And if it's still effective, someone like you in a position where you want to help people and serve people, just like, you know, when we're talking about nurses and other professions that are helping people, it's about how you're always it's going to be ingrained in you to be able to want to do that the best way that you can. And that's why it's difficult, just going on a slight tangent, but coming back to something you said, and it's about that taking time off and that normal burnout. So not Zoom burnout, but actual just work burnout. And what I've found is, through my looking into imposter syndrome, and what I've learned about myself is, and as we said, a lot of people in an industry where we're caring for people or we're helping people, a lot of the priorities that we naturally give is to external influences. So it's we will prioritize somebody else's task. If we can help somebody, we'll prioritize that over something for ourselves. And that's natural, but that's okay. And that's coming back to saying it's okay to accept that and work with that. which is why I have a coach myself, because that means I can concentrate some time on me, just like somebody else is asking of me, you know. But it is, you know, it is crucial to realize that the body, like your body's telling you now, your body's concentrating all its resources on fixing you. And it's all too easy to try and go, oh, hurry up, no, I need to get back to work. But actually, I would think that to be the best version of you and to help people as much as you can, now is the time, like you're saying, to go, I'm going to slow it down a bit, because otherwise I'm not going to fully recover, or it's going to take me even longer.
Yeah. And I think that you've made a really valid point there, Matt, that who cares for the carers? And that's why it's so important to have your own coach or your own supervisor or somebody to say, hang on a minute, are you doing too much? Or are you setting yourself impossible goals? It's okay to set goals, but they have to be smart goals. They have to be achievable and manageable and, you know, focused. And sometimes when you have that burning desire to make a difference, you do too much. And you don't think of yourselves, and that's who cares for the carers is a very good thought. You know,
it's a really good word, actually. Yeah,
I've worked for an organisation called Cruise, which is a bereavement organisation, and one of the courses they put on was self-care for the therapists, because actually it's draining listening to people's stories, and you're so keen to make a difference that you actually burn out yourself. And we had a lovely weekend in somewhere near Scarborough where we actually just looked at how we cared for ourselves, both emotionally and physically. And, you know, we did meditation, we did massage, we did, you know, all the stuff that you're supposed to do that you never give yourself time, space to do. And it is about, you have to have that right work-life balance. That's my fear with Zoom, that people actually, because they're not commuting, there's 2 hours either side of the day that you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to work till 9 o'clock. Well, I can fit in an hour before the official work time, and I can work an hour later. So you know, an 8-hour day is turning into a 10-hour day, and you have to be careful of that, and pace yourself through it. And I've actually made a decision now that I'm never going to do more than 4 clients a day, because then I get a break in between. And it's great working from home. It's great because I can nip into the kitchen, make a tea, make a coffee, and have a wander around the garden, keep my blood flowing and through, so I don't get thrombosis or whatever. And it's about actually, at one time I would have just said, right, okay, I've got so many clients, I'll see them end to end. Now I have a break, and I don't feel guilty about it either.
Good. I'm glad you said that, because I similarly came across Zoom burnout as well, and actually, because like you said, it takes a lot of energy to listen. Not even necessarily sometimes to give advice or to give, you know, any nuggets of information. It's to listen and be fully present for people. And I said, because at the moment I'm a mixture between online work and then face-to-face work in terms of personal training. So I set myself a maximum really of 5, 6 if it's the right combination, but 5 face-to-face or work-based appointments per day, because otherwise I was finding on days that there were more, I was just extremely, extremely tired, and I wasn't able to be the best at what I was doing. So if you're not bringing the full you, the natural position for me, and I don't know whether you feel the same, is if you're not fully engaged in something, you don't feel like you're doing a good job, and that actually
you're not giving
has
true
more
value. You're not giving true value. And I think one of the things is that, and you know all about adrenaline. You live on adrenaline. You actually get high through it. And if you don't let that discharge, then that's you can't sleep, you can't, you know, function properly. So you've actually got to let your natural body resources actually work for you rather than against you. You don't have to have high cortisol levels or high adrenaline levels. You have to let them discharge. Adrenaline is absolutely fantastic because it keeps you going for when you need to, but it's about actually recognizing that you don't have to. You're not mechanical, you know. You don't just turn a switch and you're on, and you turn a switch and you're off. You have to actually manage your time when you're dealing with other people. It's important that, you know, people recognize that. I used to go to a group on a Sunday morning, a lovely little group, But I thought, why am I doing this on a Sunday? It's my day off. And I've actually ditched it, not because I didn't enjoy it, because I did, but it was like, I don't want that commitment on a Sunday. I want to be able to do things with my family, to, you know. And similarly, there's a group that meets on the Sunday evening. I don't do it every week because there's the days I Zoom my kids, and my kids are in New Zealand. So I talk to them, you know, either early morning or late at night, because they're 13 hours ahead. And it's about actually prioritizing what is really important. And the bottom line is, you are the most important person in your world. And if you don't look after yourself, who's going to look after you? I've been very fortunate that my husband's been absolutely brilliant. I don't know how he puts up with me, to be honest. But you know, he's the one saying, "Are you sure you should be doing that?" You know, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure, but I know you've got to pace yourself, because it's like the tortoise and the hare, and who wins the race. And you know, if you're rushing ahead, you're not going to get to the finish line. And there's been a lot of thought put into what I've been doing in the last few weeks. As I say, I retired 3 years ago, but I couldn't let go of all the knowledge that I had. Somewhere along the line, there will be that time when I actually say, that's enough, enough is enough. But it's about restructuring. It doesn't mean to say you can't be as effective doing things in a different way. No. So at the moment, I'm changing my focus. I've done a lot of work with teachers. They've been extremely stressed over the pandemic.
I can imagine, yeah.
And then I moved on to sudden bereavement, and that was a brilliant service, because most people don't get help with bereavement until after about 6 months. But it's been proved that if it's a sudden bereavement, it pays to talk to people early, because it helps them to accept. So I've been doing quite a lot of that. And I thought, that's draining as well. But I've kind of done my bit. And now I'm thinking, well, where do I go from here? And I've been very fortunate to pick up quite a few clients, supervisees, trainee counsellors who are learning to do the job. And it's been an absolute delight seeing them grow. So that's my focus at the moment. Yeah. And yeah, it's great, because you only talk to them once a month, an hour and a half every month. But I'm getting my little tribe and, finding my niche there. And it's absolutely wonderful seeing people develop and grow and learn from. I can pass on. It's like learning with Nelly, isn't it? Sitting beside somebody as they learn to do a job. And it's really, really interesting. And I think, as a swan song, I think that's probably where I'll end up, with a little bit of trauma work, a little bit of supervision, and eventually I'll give up and hang up my my shoes for a while. I've got a huge array of books behind me. I'm very loath to let go of them, because there's so much history in them of how I have learned, and eventually somebody will get the benefit of them. But I feel it very hard to let go, and sometimes you do have to say to yourself, enough is enough. And when that time will be, I really don't know. I suppose it's when I fail to make a difference. So just like you make a difference to people's lives when you see their bodies changing, I make a difference to people's lives when I see their minds changing. And it's quite a privilege to walk alongside somebody as they go on a journey. And I think the thing you've got to recognise is that you start on a journey and you meet people along the way, and you let go of people along the way as well. And it's about, actually, when people are ready to go, you let them fly. And that is the beauty of the job that I do, that, people, I don't do time limited work. I actually say to people, when you're ready, we'll let go. You can try it on your own. And people actually do respect that. It's not about being needy or it's about, actually, you're there for a certain time in somebody's life, and then they go off on the journey on their own. And the most magical thing is to hear how well people do when they've actually let go of the support and got moving and on their own. And amazing things happen that you don't actually recognise until in hindsight, they've come an awful long way. Yeah, it's amazing. I think what we do, you do it for people's bodies, I do it for people's minds. I could do with a bit of body work myself at the moment, but yeah, it is about how we all make a difference, and how we use our experience to the benefit of people rather than to the detriment of people. There's an awful lot of people who use people, and I don't like that attitude.
No.
I like people to actually say, go to Maggie because she listens to you. She doesn't tell you what to do, but she gives you a nudge in the right direction. I guess your work's slightly different. You do tell people what to do.
I do in personal training, yeah, but I mean, over the last year I've branched out into life coaching as well, so there's a bit of both, and it's an interesting mix, because then there's a part of me that, so I've kind of got this hybrid where some of it is more, I suppose it's more like mentoring, because it's actually giving some actions there. But yeah, absolutely, a PT is designed to tell somebody what to do and to do it safely to get a result. Whereas in the coaching realm, it's about, you know, enabling the client or the person you're working with to do it themselves. To ask the right questions and stuff. But it's, you know, it's them light bulb moments. I say quite a lot of them light bulb moments that are just so powerful for both sides, really. It's just enabling that space, isn't it, to be able to.
And they often talk about the wounded healer. People who've gone through trauma themselves actually make the best therapists, the best trainers, because they know what it's like to be in a place where you don't really want to be, and they've actually struggled to get out of it. You know, looking at my life now, it's completely different to what it was 30, 40 years ago. But I've learned from every experience, and it's been absolutely brilliant. I was listening to the news this lunchtime, and suddenly they've decided that miscarriage is a pretty devastating thing to happen to a woman, and they've also discovered that Black and Asian women suffer more miscarriages than white women. And I thought, actually, that is absolutely brilliant, because, you know, I used to work for the Miscarriage Association in Wakefield. It's taken 30 years to get this message across, that actually what they're doing is not actually for the best psychological advantage of women. You have to have 3 miscarriages before they even investigate. Now, that is really sad for a woman who has gone through that expectation for three times and come out with nothing. Why couldn't they have realised before that people need help straight away, not three times down the line? So actually listening to the news today made me realise that, you know, the work that we did 30 years ago actually is now coming to fruition. And it's really powerful to see that. But why does it take so long? You know, it seems crazy. Common sense to most of us. Yeah. It
does. Again, I think going back to, you know, the things that have happened, I think the pandemic and everything having to change. I mean, if we'd have predicted the things that have happened would have happened, but if we'd have gone back to December 2019 and said, in 6 months' time, you know, everything's going to have to shut down and we're going to have lockdowns, there'd be no, I suspect, and I would have thought it's never going to happen. We wouldn't be able to survive it because we've never had to. But I think the whole experience has made people more aware of themselves and how they're feeling, because we've suddenly been plunged into a lot more time with ourselves, but also prioritizing, and as you're alluding to, kind of setting boundaries on, you know, the people that will come out the best and the strongest out of this will be the people that have gone, okay, well, what aligns with my values? What do I feel most passionate about? And actually, which part of my life do I really, really enjoy? And which parts do I not? And actually, am I doing too much? Should I look after myself a little bit more? And actually just asking these questions. And some people will not come out with answers. Some people will come out, you know, and they'll still feel the hurt and they'll still feel the tiredness. But some people will have made real change and a step towards actually bettering themselves to be even a better person for the family or for other people. There's that, it's that example on the airplane, isn't it? You put on your mask
before
to enable you to help somebody else.
And just as it's okay to say, I'm not okay, it's okay to say no as well. That sometimes you have to say no to somebody for your own self-interest, because it's not in their best interest if they're working with somebody who's burnt out. So it is about actually understanding that actually it's okay to say no. The way you say it is important, but it's okay to say, I don't want to work with you because, you know, it's not in your best interest. Yeah, it's a lesson that we all have to learn, but it's quite hard to do. I've got a 98-year-old aunt who's as fit as a flea.
Wow, incredible.
She had a COVID jab, and she didn't feel very well. And she hadn't read the literature, or she hadn't listened to what people said, and she started going dizzy. I asked her when she felt dizzy. She said, well, she lives in flats. And she says, well, I don't take the lift. I walk 3 flights of stairs to keep myself fit. And it was only when she started going dizzy that she realised there was something wrong, because she wasn't doing what she normally could do. And somebody sat her down and said, look, you know, Lizzie, this is what's happened to you. You've got a reaction to your AstraZeneca jab. You know, she had no idea, because she had this faith in herself that she would keep herself fit by climbing up and down the stairs instead of jumping in the lift and pressing the button. And sometimes you have to realise that, you know, enough is enough, and you have to take care of yourself. And she's been wonderful through lockdown. She really has. She's now got a freedom again. Now she's had a second jab. But can you imagine what it's like being stuck in a flat all on your own? No. And we've done as much as we can to support her. Her family are abroad. She's got 2 children in America and 1 in Italy. And we've done our best to keep her, you know, amused. But she's the resilient one. We're not the resilient ones. She's, you know, 98. And she's actually said, I was talking to her about Prince Philip dying. And I said, it was a bit of a shock, isn't it? She said, well, we've all got to go sometime. She says, but when I go, she said, I'll be sitting up saying, don't take me yet, because I've still got things to do.
Love that. I absolutely love that.
It really is the power of positive thinking that has kept her going for 98 years. She's going to be 99 this year. And it's amazing. You know, I can't climb up 3 flights of stairs. She does it every day. No. So it's about mind over matter too. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're going to say strength in mind can enable a lot of things, and there's a lot of links to, you know, mindset and actually illness and things like that as well. And it can, you know, it's super powerful, isn't it? But that resilience there, I had a lot of, because I do some work with elderly folk as well, some chair exercise classes, and some of the feedback I was getting, well, you know, I've been through a war, I've been through struggles myself. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go. And to some that can seem flippant, but to me, that's just ultimate resilience. That's just, well, you know, I've got out of life what I want out of it. And if I get to live for some more years, then I'll make it, you know, I'll make it work. But
I think lockdown has been amazing, because the old people have been able to reminisce about what they've experienced. I found out that my aunt, who was in the forces during the Second World War, she did code breaking. Not at Bletchley Park, but at Colchester. And when the code breakers weren't needed anymore, she was stationed in London. She told me that on the E-Day she was stood at the railings of Buckingham Palace when the King and Queen came out. You know, how many people can actually remember that? It's amazing the resilience that she's had to, and she says, I don't really remember much about it, because we went and had some fun. I said, do you mean you had a few drinks? She says, yeah, I had a few drinks, animal. And it's like, you know, what amazing stories people have got of the resilience through the war. And it's all about finding some meaning in your lives as well. You know, there's a great guy called Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And it is about actually, from any experience, you can make a sense of it. You can find some meaning. And there'll be a lot of reviews over COVID and what have you. I was talking to my husband the other day. I said, if you'd written this in a book and read it, you'd think you were reading science fiction.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it happened, and we're the witnesses to that. And it's about what we learn from it that's important. You know, that, yeah, as we gradually open up, yeah, there are people who are going to admit that COVID doesn't exist, or that, you know, the COVID negative in terms of they don't believe in its effects. But actually, when you look at what has happened, it is a life-shattering event for a lot of people. And it's very much like Darwin's natural selection. If Darwin had been alive, it would have been, you know, survival of the fittest. Now, fortunately, we've survived by protecting the unfit, which is absolutely brilliant. But in days gone by, it would have just happened. You know, we've got the plague village just up the road, where people just died. They isolated themselves and died because they were so selfless. They actually said, we'll protect the rest of the community by isolating ourselves. And we've got so much to learn from what's happened in the last 2 years, and it's, yeah, I think it's what we can learn from it, not what we criticize people for. You know, hindsight being wonderful, there's lots of things that could have been done that haven't been done, but you know, it's about actually build on what we have learned, and what we have learned about ourselves and our natures and the way we act and the way we behave. And it's been quite a learning experience for a lot of people. Not all negative, not all positive, but it's been an experience. So yeah, so it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say no. That's my message today.
Well, I was just going to ask you if you could sum up your message, but you've just done it for me.
Great minds, yeah.
No, that's absolutely wonderful, and I'm glad we've had a chance to talk about that today, because it is. There's a lot of there tends to be a lot of negativity that can surround what's happened. But actually, if you surround yourself with people, you know, that feel the same way that you do, or perhaps are a good influence, or that think positive or something like that, then you can suddenly, you know, you can get you can absorb some of the positivity out of it as well, because there's always going to be both sides of the coin, isn't there?
Yeah, there certainly is. And I think it's about, actually, if you look after your mind, you look after your body, you look after your body, you look after your mind. And it's about how, you know, the various industries, coaches, trainers, therapists, all actually work together to bring a bigger picture, a holistic approach to well-being. And I think that's the most important thing that I've learned over lockdown, is that we can all collaborate. You can never have too many coaches or too many PTs or too many therapists, because we all bring something different to the table.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's been great actually talking to you today. So I hope I've given you what you wanted, Nat.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure anyone watching or listening to this will agree as well. And what'll be really nice is if there's any responses, you know, so if you've heard anything today that, you know, has changed anything or has made you think, or, you know, changed the way that you feel about something, then please let us know. I was just going to ask Maggie, if anyone wants to, because I know you've got Think Differently and we can see the logo behind you, if anyone did want to see a bit more about what you do, or if they wanted to get in touch, is there any way they can do so? What's the easiest way?
I've got a website, and it's www.thinkdifferently.org.uk. I've also got a Facebook page, which is just Think Differently. And I've got a kind of a mini group called Think Differently in Safe Hands, where there's a group of us. We post things that are encouraging messages, you know, about motivation, about actually things aren't that bad. It's a place you can share, and that is by invitation only. But you know, if you drop me a line and you want to be in part of that, that's great. Just post a couple of times a week about, you know, things that are inspirational, things that are good. You know, a bit of humour too, because humour is quite important in things like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, there's all my details on my website.
Brilliant.
If anybody wants to get in touch. I'm very happy to discuss any of the things we've talked about today, Matt. So thanks ever so much for inviting me on.
No, wonderful. Thank you for coming on and spending some time talking to me about that stuff. And you know, good luck for the rest of your recovery as well. And just keep up with that.
I'm doing fine because I'm pacing myself.
Good. We'll just continue to.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Wonderful.
For now.
Thanks, Maggie. Wow, how good was that to have Maggie on today? So I couldn't agree more with all the things she was saying. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. The body is so incredibly powerful, but it will, if you're in tune with it, it will tell you when to slow down. And it'll also tell you when you can speed up. So that gut feeling when something's exciting, that's the time to go a little bit faster. So remember, listen, take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. Don't forget to visit www.imdoingitfor.me to see all the other things that I do. Check out all the other videos in the playlist, which I've set up, which is IDIFM. Click the notification bell and the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the other videos. And also, if you know anyone that might want to get involved and be a guest on the podcast and YouTube series, just send me a message. You can get me on Matt, so it's MATT, at imdoingitfor.me. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you're going to absolutely smash it. And more importantly, stay super.